been a crazy couple of weeks. We got a new cat, a 2-month-old kitten actually, so we spent a ton of time cat-proofing the house and training our dog, who now thinks it's the cat's mother, to play nicely with the cat instead of just going crazy, grooming it non-stop, so that way the cat can actually play free and explore a little bit. And it's just been non-stop, like morning to night, training them both and just cat-proofing the house and just getting used to having a cat in the house for the first time, along with 3 kids, one of those which is just turned 1 year old. Anyway, today I have some parts from Smallrig for the Sony ZV-1 little compact camera here. This is the cage as well as some other accessories, a full kind of kit to get you up and filming with this. So we're going to take it out of the box and see how well it actually addresses some of the issues that I do have with this camera, despite how great it actually is in such a small package. So let's get into it. Hey, I'm Scott and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, please do consider subscribing if you want more no-nonsense tutorials and reviews. So like I said, this little camera here, the ZV-1 from Sony, is actually a pretty powerful camera considering its size and weight and everything. It's literally pocketable and it can do 4K video that's a decent quality. I've got this mainly for a kind of behind the scenes camera, both for photo and for video. And it can also come in handy when I'm in a pinch and I need another angle or something like that. It can still record in 4K. It's got built-in NDs and stuff. It's a really handy little camera to have, but there are some weaknesses just to this design and to this camera specifically that actually these parts should be able to help with. One of those is the fact that the screw thread on the bottom here, I'm not sure if you can see that, is really close to the battery door, and the SD card is also inside of the battery door. So if you want to change batteries, if you want to remove the SD card to load files onto your computer, anything you want to do with that door, you're pretty much guaranteed to have to remove even a very small tripod plate or little handheld tripod every time you want to access that. So that gets quite annoying. The cage, I believe, should shift that over so that way that will still be accessible while still having a screw thread that you can use on the bottom there, giving you enough clearance for using like that. Another thing is that, of course, yes, this is a very compact camera, but still the grip is, very small here. So if it gives it a little bit more, even just a little bit more of a significant grip or a comfortable grip, then that will be appreciated. It's not necessarily necessary for me, but it would be nice to have. I'm not sure exactly. I honestly didn't look at too many details of this. I just wanted to have a fresh opinion of it today. But the last major thing is that this is, of course, largely plastic. The body feels nice, of course, but it is a plastic body. So having a cage on here will give it some added protection. And if you're throwing this into your bag, in your pocket, in your backpack, whatever, some added protection is definitely something that I would not complain about having. All in all, though, my concern about this setup is that I don't want to add a whole lot of size or weight, because one of the huge conveniences of this is that I can just tuck it into the outside pocket of my camera bag or even into my pants pocket sometimes. I can just always have it with me, which is why it's great for me as a behind the scenes camera, again, for both photo and video. So hopefully this should have the flexibility of giving it some extra functionality and some protection, but still not add on a whole lot in terms of size and weight. But anyway, blah, blah, blah. Let's just open up these boxes and see in detail what I think about these, my first impressions, and we'll get it on the camera and set all up. So we'll start with the main thing here, which is the actual cage. This is part number 2938 if you're trying to look it up on their website. It's the cage for the Sony ZV-1. So let's get that open. So of course it comes with a single Allen wrench here. And then this is the cage itself. It's actually nice. I think that it's fairly minimal. It's not too heavy. Let's get the scale and actually weigh it here. So the camera itself, this is with a battery and SD card in there, is 293 grams. And then this cage is 95 grams. So I think under 100 grams is a pretty decent amount of lightweightness for this cage. It doesn't add a whole lot to it. It does have this little rubbery part in front of the grip here. It's not too significantly large. We'll see how it feels once we get it on the camera, but it does have a little bit of rubber there to give you a comfortable grip at least. On the inside bottom of the cage, you have this little rubber pad here that should help against spinning. And then it looks like you're going to attach this to the actual camera only by this screw right here, which will go right around this ring on the front of the camera. That's interesting. Usually these will of course screw into the bottom of the camera, but this is intended to give you more access to that battery door there, in the SD card door. So it has some little rubber pads inside of here as well, just to give it that little bit of extra security. I don't think anybody's going to be rigging this out extremely huge, and it's not heavy, so it shouldn't be a problem whatsoever, but I am curious to see how this will fit. So let's get it on there. Just slides right in. So now you can see on the bottom here we have clearance for the battery door. So I can open that up and it opens right up. I can get access to the battery and the SD card, no problem. And I have a bunch of screws on the side here. So if I am using a little mini tripod or even a tripod plate, if I need to, I could screw it on all the way over on this side away from that door. So that way, even without removing it, I should have a decent amount of clearance on the bottom there. That is nice. You can see that there's also another cold shoe on the bottom of the cage, which is something you don't see too often, but it could come in handy if you're using something like a small, the Rode Wireless Go, whatever it's called, receiver. You could just slide it right into there. That might be a useful point to put that in there if you're using something else on the top. But we do also have another accessory to solve that problem as well, which we'll look at in a second. But you do have that cold shoe on the bottom of the cage. You've got one screw thread on the side here. You've got some holes here for straps. You've got a couple of holes on the top here, right in the center. You've got some holes on the other side as well as all down this side of the grip. And you've got a hole for a strap on the bottom of the right side as well. If you're using something like a grip maybe that you want to wrap around your hand, you can attach that both on the top and the bottom. And that's pretty much it. It's a good fit. Again, better than I expected. It gives it a little bit more protection. It gives it a better grip. And it gives it the access to that door on the bottom. So it pretty much solves all the problems that I had in mind for this camera. But we're not going to stop there. I have a couple more accessories that they sell as a kit to go along with this, including, let's start with the little box here. This is a Smallrig cold shoe mount adapter with an anti-off button. I think that's kind of like the lock, so that way whatever you have in the cold shoe will not slip off. It's part BUC2260B if you're looking for it on their website. Let's get it out of the box. So you've got the tool and 4 screws here in the cold shoe itself. So you can see here, maybe, I'm sorry, this is really tiny. You've got a little thing on the side here that you can push it down, and it has this kind of quick release type thing. So it will snap into place when you slide something in here, so that way it doesn't fall out. Let me grab a microphone. This is the new Deity Duo mic, for example. This is a great mic for something like this for people who are vlogging. You can talk both in front of and behind it. It has 2 mics built into one. Really great. And if you're using a lav mic, you can actually plug that into here, so that way you have the front side as well as the input from that lav mic. So you can use both of those at the same time. Really great mic for vlogging or just for whatever. So I'm gonna have a review of this soon as well. Anyway, off track. So once you slide this in here, you can just push it past that lock. I don't know if you could hear that, but it doesn't come out now. So I can push that little lever down on the side and release it. But listen to this as it locks in there. There you go. So it does slide around a little bit. There's a little bit of play. So of course, sometimes cold shoes are a little bit bigger or smaller. That'll give you that extra size for that situation, but you'd still want to tighten this down so it doesn't slide around. However, if you're worried about it falling out, which for a microphone might not be that big of a deal, but if you're using a monitor or something on there, you might not want it to fall and crash, then it does have that lock. So just in case things come loose, not gonna fall off. That's nice to have. So you can see that there's actually 2 screw holes here in this instead of just one in the center. So you can screw it onto a cage using 2 screws and avoid it twisting, which is nice. It won't twist loose or twist out of line, whatever. So you can screw it on using 2 screw holes, and it's tall enough that those screws are not gonna interfere when you slide whatever it is that you're sliding in. I'm not going to bother putting it onto this cage because everybody's going to set their cameras up differently. But for example, if I wanted to put this sideways right on these 2 screw threads here, sideways so that way I can use both of those screws, it is going to block this little C1 button here, which is that, I think it's the instant shallow depth of field button. I don't use it, so that's actually not a big deal at all for me. But just be aware that if you are mounting it on that front corner there, sideways using the 2 screws, or even not, then it's going to block that top C1 button. So if you have it reprogrammed to something else maybe, then that's going to be more of a problem. I guess you could put it on the side here as well. That's going to interfere with your grip. But if you're using this on a tripod, or if you're using the top handle, which we're going to take a look at next, then it might not matter as much. It might be more valuable to you to have that second cold shoe. But in any case, with this cage or with any other cage, this is a really nice cold shoe. So if you're curious about it, it will work with a number of different rigs. So there it is. Next up, we've got this cute, tiny little top handle. So we're gonna open this up. This is new and it's really tiny, and honestly, I don't think it's great as an overall top handle because it's so small, but for a compact rig, that compact size may be a nice match. So let's see how it feels and how it balances on a camera like this, and that might actually be a perfect fit, and that might be one of the main purposes they made it for, is for small rigs. I think this is the number here if you're looking for it on their website. It's HTS2756, maybe. Smallrig, big dream. Maybe this is their new branding or their new packaging. It's kind of nice. So this will just actually open up like that. That's kind of cool. There it is. And no more bags, no more plastic bags. We've got a little, there is a plastic bag in there, but we've got our little Allen wrench there. And then we've got the actual little mini handle, and the screws seem to be stuck in there, but this one came out. So I'm gonna put this back in. I know it's gonna be like impossible to see here, but similar to a tripod plate, if you're curious, this allows the screw to slide side to side, but it doesn't fall out. However, there is a little section right in the middle where you can screw these screws in and out if you want to change them for whatever reason, but they won't fall out quite so easily. Again, just like a tripod plate. Let me try and get this in here. So this is it. You can see the size compared to my hand, maybe. It's very tiny, but it does have this little section here where I assume you're supposed to put some, maybe 2 fingers behind that and 1 finger in front of it. So it actually is a decent grip considering its size. I mean, it's really tiny. You can only fit maybe a total of 3 fingers there to hold that. And then you've got the little, again, locking cold shoe in the front. So it has a similar little lock button there. So if you put something in there, like a mic, then it's not going to fall out. That's nice. And you have the actual 3/8 inch screw thread with RE locating pins on the front. Again, nice considering how small this is, but that's all there is to it. So I think they might have different versions of this, but the one I have here comes with these 2 screws. So that'll screw right into the 2 screw threads on the top of this cage here. So although it's a different color, let's go ahead and get that attached and see how it feels. It doesn't add a whole lot of size to the rig actually. I kind of wish that it was toolless, but then again, you've just got 2 screw threads here. And I think there might be other versions as well. I'll put some information up on screen. I haven't really looked that far into it, to be honest with you, but it's a different color. It's kind of weird, to be honest. I think I like the gray color, but it's weird that it's mixed and matched now. So I think they should at least have options of different colors. So that way, if you do have an all black rig, then you can get a black handle. But if you prefer this color, you can choose that. I think it looks weird when it's mixed, but anyway, it's surprisingly comfortable for the size, I gotta say. And again, this is not that heavy, but let's extend the lens here. And I think it feels pretty well balanced right there in the center there. So actually, it's pretty nice. If you want to have a top handle for this tiny little camera, again, fairly powerful in terms of video features, but it is tiny. So I think this is an interesting choice for it. Honestly, I wouldn't want to go with any larger of a top handle for such a small camera. I don't know if I would use a top handle for this myself, but if I did, this is probably the largest I'd want to go. So anyway, we've got one more part of this kit, and that is a little mini tripod, a new, I believe, mini tripod from Smallrig. So let's get that out of the box. This is part BUT2664, if you're curious. So you got a little tool and the actual mini tripod and ball head. First impressions, it feels surprisingly solid. So of course this comes as part of the kit together for the ZV-1, but you could use this for whatever. It's a little bit heavy, I think, if you're going to be using this to, you know, vlog like people do, holding it out, because it is pretty much solid metal as far as I can tell. But if you're using this on a tabletop or something like that, this is really quite nice. The quality is very good. The legs have a good resistance, a good tightness to them, so it's not going to be flopping all around the place, which is nice. There's little rubber tips here on each of the feet. I like the color scheme. The ball head is a good medium size, and it comes with, of course, a quick release plate. Here's my Arca Swiss style plate. Good. So actually, this should be compatible with Arca Swiss plates if that's what you use, which generally it's what I use, either that or Manfrotto style plates. So that's nice, and they do include one here, very low profile. So if you are using it again on the bottom of a compact setup like this, then it's not going to be too obtrusive, I guess is the correct word here. Feels nice enough, feels solid enough. You've got the one control here on the side to loosen up that ball, and then you've got another control here for the pan axis. Pan's pretty smooth. Of course, this is not like a video head or anything like that. You do have a little bubble level here on the side, so if you're doing, I guess, vertical video, then you can make sure that this is perfectly vertical, and that might be useful to you. There is no bubble level for horizontal video though. I'll put some specs up on screen in terms of like the weight capacity and stuff for this, what they claim it can hold securely. But otherwise, let's just get this put onto the bottom of the ZV-1 cage so you can see kind of how a quick release plate fits and still gives you access to the battery door, and just how this, overall looks all together. So if you mount that quick release plate, the one that's included with this, and I assume pretty much most standard Arca Swiss sized quick release plates, then you can see that although it does not allow the door to completely open, I don't know if you can really tell that, it's a little bit diagonal there, you still are able to remove the battery and then of course the SD card. So you have enough clearance for that, even when you mount this right under the center of the lens there, but you do also have more space that you can move it over further to the side if you needed to with a larger plate. So let's put this on top of here. Let's move this. I like to move this around to the left side, tighten that up, make it straight, and boom, there we go. So if I wanted to, these legs are kind of tight. If I was holding this in my hand, let's get a better angle for vlogging here. It's a little heavy with this all metal mini tripod, but overall it is light compared to what some people vlog with, so it's definitely doable. I don't have a monitor or anything on there right now, but you could still of course flip this out and you can see yourself no problem. Right now, looking on the screen, actually this is a good distance. I think even if you put on that digital stabilization, you might still have enough distance with this little mini tripod where it would be good for vlogging. So if I wanted to throw a mic on top of here, of course we've got that cold shoe in the handle that has that anti-release lock thing, so now that I've snapped it in place it doesn't fall off. Let's tighten it down. There we go. Just in case you can't see it on that camera, there we go. Not bad at all actually for a little compact vlogging setup. I am not a vlogger whatsoever, but this would definitely work for me. If you don't already have the little tripod or grip or whatever it is that comes with the ZV-1, this could be a good choice as well, just for a standard thing, and it feels rugged enough that I would feel secure to use this for other situations and even other cameras besides the ZV-1. So although it is a little bit on the overly rugged, overly heavy side for this, I think that it is a good thing to have in your kit because these things are always useful for a number of different uses. Now this is of course with the microphone on there, but the microphone's not all that heavy, but a setup like this would weigh just under 1 kilogram, so not too bad at all. Anyway, that's about it, and I'm sorry for rambling. I'm terrible at unboxing videos because I tend to ramble on and repeat stuff, but hopefully that could give you a little bit of an idea of the different things, the different accessories and everything that Smallrig have for the ZV-1. I think this is a wonderful camera to have in your kit. It's not super cheap for a pocket camera, but it is very powerful, and it's something that I can definitely rely on to get quality behind the scenes shots, and even to act as a C camera or maybe even a B camera in certain situations, crash cam, whatever they call it. It could serve a lot of really useful purposes. So it's nice to have good accessories that kind of take it up to that next level without really overdoing it. This is a little bit of overkill for my personal use, but at least the cage is something that I will definitely keep on there, and I'm glad to have because it does definitely take this camera from almost being the perfect little pocket camera to being pretty much the perfect little pocket camera. But if you have any questions or comments, please do let me know down below and I will do my best to get back to you. Otherwise, if you like this video, make sure to share, subscribe, like, all that good stuff, and see you next time.